You started questioning your identity at 12 years old. You were born a woman, ultimately decided to transition. You've had second thoughts about that. We don't have a lot of time here. We've had a busy day. Let me ask you this. At 12 years old, when you began this process, how easy was it for that to happen?
I mean, if there's any chance for a child to be able to go through these interventions under the age of 18, it is absolutely too easy. And for me, it was a very straightforward process. Between the ages of 12 to 16, I went through the process of a medical gender transition, including Lupron, which has previously been used as a chemical castration agent, a weekly dose of cross-sex hormones, and a double mastectomy to remove my breasts, all before I was even legally old enough to operate a vehicle. And that's why this executive order means so much to me. It makes it feel like everything that I had been through as a child was not in vain. That everything I've been fighting for the past 3 years has led to this point. And I am incredibly thankful that Donald Trump has signed this executive order and sent it out.
So the woke medical community, they have made it very easy to transition for a child. Talk about your journey detransitioning, because what I've read is it was very difficult for you.
Yes, whereas with transitioning, it's a very straightforward process that you're just pushed along in. And there's kind of an idea of where you're going to go from one intervention to the other. When you choose to stop that process and return to your identity as your birth sex, and to stop all of these medications and interventions, there's no help for you. There's no standards of care for those of us who detransition or regret. There's no medical codes in the system, even for doctors to refer to. So they have no idea what to do with us other than continue the experimentation. So many just turn away from us.
So you're saying it became very difficult. It's almost as when you wanted to transition, all the help in the world was offered to you. When you wanted to detransition and get away from this, doctors, medical community almost turned their back on you.
Yes. I mean, all the support that I had before was just completely gone. The moment that I chose to stop and live my life truthfully and healthily. And I am far from the only person I know who has gone through this. I know so many other young men and women who have gone through this, who I've met in the past few years, and many of them were children. Many of them were pushed too soon into this when they were still very much boys and girls.
I would say so. I would say when you started at 12 years old is extremely young, much too young. Lifelong health issues. President Trump talked about that. I've read about that. You've wrote about that yourself. I've looked at it. Talk about that.
So obviously after the surgery, I'm never going to be able to nurse my children. I'm never going to have the form or the function that was there. But I have lasting health issues from every single one of the interventions, even the ones that the activists and the doctors claim are completely irreversible. I have issues with my bones, with my joints, with my nerves, and I experience pelvic pain and all of these symptoms that are not only physically painful, but also emotionally. I am 20 years old and I have to grapple with the loss of things that nobody my age should even have to think about.
Chloe, last question here because we're running out of time, but I also read that when you were in certain treatment rooms, there were children in there, and you were very young while this was going on. There were even younger ones, children much younger than you, and they were being subject to this.
Yes, I was first referred to a surgeon when I was 14, but in the waiting room and in the hospital building with me, the other children who I saw who were waiting for these procedures were probably about as young as 11 or 12. And they were not nearly as far along the process as I was. This is something that is going to irreversibly affect my generation, and we need to stop it immediately, which is why I'm so incredibly hopeful for this really historical first of the federal government intervening in this ideology that has infected our nation and so many of our institutions. And this is just the very beginning of the battle, and it's very incredibly hopeful. We need to continue until the very end.
Yep. Appreciate